It is a pretty beautiful but hot August day, and I'm on the Devinci Troy Carbon. I rode the aluminum version of this bike, which was really cool, basically for half the summer last year, and now we get the carbon version of it, which has some slight changes, including being 2 pounds lighter than the alloy. Enough where I basically feel like I can perceive that weight difference, and also slightly shorter chainstays, which has been fun. I really like the flip chip design on this bike. It's one of the least fiddly designs I've come across, and we got this bike in the low setting, and even in the low flip chip setting, 27.5 rear wheel, still feel like I have plenty of seat tube angle. Still feel like that angle is keeping me relatively forward. Feels modern. Kind of forgot how great the pedal kinematics of this bike are. It's got a very taut feeling, good dose of anti-squat. When you get on the power, it's not sloshing around. But maybe it's the design, maybe it's that RockShox Vivid, but you hit a bump and it dives into that travel uphill. So feels like just a killer balance, like they really struck a sweet spot with that. On top of that, you're just kind of balanced on the bike. A little bit more of a short, I guess, feeling, kind of zippy, agile bike on the uphill. You get the sense that that front end is gonna stay nice and planted. I've been loving having like a high cockpit lately, and this bike, especially in the lower flip chip setting, just has a really nice sunk in feel. Feels like the bars are very nice and high, which gives kind of a sense of confidence. And the way I climb, it's like, I feel like this position kind of just keeps your head a little bit more above your shoulders, a little bit less neck fatigue. Yeah, that rear suspension, climbing, it's a really neat balance of like active versus pedal platform. And neither like the anti-squat or the traction are in your face. Just feels like a very down the middle traction balanced with efficiency pedaling experience. Yeah, it feels very refined. Yeah, feeling like a very refined, do-it-all, proven geometry, kind of balanced bike. No gimmicks or BS, just like really nice refinement, and I feel like I'm the kind of rider that tends to appreciate that. All right, dropping in with the Troy Carbone. Yeah, feels fairly happy to be opened up. Dirt is quite good today. That rear shock feels quite buttery, like the RockShox kit. It's got that very active feel that I just love. Yeah, it feels like the bottom bracket, even in the low setting, isn't like super low, but my new Firebird is definitely, I think, a super low bike now, and that's kind of my reference point for the time being. Ooh, surprisingly easy to pop that gap with this bike, because it's not a super poppy feeling bike. It's nice that the Vivid can be set up with a super fast rebound setting, so you can get the bike to feel quite, fast rebound, but it feels like it's just this mix of kind of being poppy, or it's not too poppy, but it's definitely not like the all-out plow machine either. Just a super balanced bike. Definitely eating up the trail pretty well for being a 150. Has a nice amount of soak factor to it. Wonder if that's part of the magic of speccing that Vivid on the back. A little bit of a tight section back there. Very middle of the road feeling wheelbase. Doesn't feel short. It's not like the front end just wants to be like pulled up super easily, despite the fact that it's got a pretty high stack, especially with where I'm running the bars. Yee! Not too crazy poppy off that jump though. I didn't push too much for that. Yeah, it's just a very balanced feeling bike. I'd say balance and refined is the word. Feels like a bike that is not gonna surprise you, which is quite a good thing. Tracking super well on the rear end there. Very, very intuitive bike. Yeah, there's something to be said for a very like refined bike like this. Felt it with the last alloy version too. Oh, the suspension just feels so good. This trail's a little bit more aggressive, so we'll see if we can get the 160 to feel kind of skittery in the middle of this trail, but feels so good. Yeah, it's so nice to have a bike that you just feel immediately at home on. I just got back from a work trip, a little underslept, and this bike is definitely giving me a sense of zen and calm right now. Wow, that is phenomenal. How much this just ate that terrain for being a 150, 160 bike. That was pretty superb. I don't know how much of that is the split pivot and how much of that is the Vivid and Buttercups, but it doesn't matter because it felt real good, real poised for a small travel bike through there. Feeling very not beat up. I think there's a little magic to the Lyric forks for being a bit more compliant. Not as stiff and precise, but keeping your hands fresh is so important, at least for me. Yee. Woo, squirrels. Oh my gosh, squirrels everywhere. I just dodged 3 squirrels. Or chipmunks, maybe. Wow. Yeah, phenomenal. Phenomenal lap down Irish Death. That trail can beat you up on a stiff bike, and this bike felt super poised, but yet didn't beat me up nearly as much as a 160 travel bike should. Gosh, yeah, this bike is so interesting. Like, I wouldn't describe it, as an all-out plow machine with like super ridiculous geometry, but it feels like it just is just so calm and composed and just does what you want it to without fighting. It's not like incredibly poppy. I also kind of forgot this is a mullet for a second. Could have even more traction on a 29er version. So that's phenomenal. Got the max grip tire up front. Got the Code brakes. Haven't rid those in a while, but feeling pretty good. The levers on these feel pretty silky and like not too much resistance. Not insane braking power, but just enough for Galby maybe. At my weight, I usually need pretty strong brakes. Kind of got a little skittery there in the dry. That rear end is tracking just like insanely well. Might be the Vivid. The Vivid is like wide open on the rebound and it still just feels so comfortable and just comforting. Slowing the world down a little bit. So who's this bike for? I'd say this bike is for that rider looking for a do-it-all machine. They just want a really balanced bike, pedals super well, that lets their riding style kind of shine through. Like the bike isn't doing you know, all the talking, but it's very capable. Just really dialed and well-rounded. Yeah, super just well-refined bike. A bike that fits my personality pretty well, like very efficient pedaler, climber, plenty capable geometry, and just has that very settled but not ground-hugging feeling of like a refined suspension kinematic and shock tune. Yeah, if you said I had to ride this bike for the next year, I'd be stoked. I think this particular blend of split pivot is just something special, and it's just a super well refined bike. So if you enjoyed that review, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, and for the full write-up, head to freehub.com.